The Twitter streets were going crazy last night, man, and we got to talk about it. So I was checking out Twitter before I went to sleep, and I came across this tweet by NBA Central, who was pretty much recalling what Stephen A. Smith had to say about his relationship or partnership, rather, with Max Kellerman and why it didn't work. And Stephen A. Smith, he went crazy. Just like he always does, he was on the Joe Budden podcast, answers questions pretty honestly, right? And he started by saying that he didn't like working with Max, which is fair. He doesn't. You don't have to like working with your colleagues, whatever the reason may be. This is fair. Then he admitted to getting him fired, pretty much. Like this ain't news, but still, he reiterated the fact that he went to the bosses and said it's either him or me. Stephen A. Smith being the big fish. Obviously, they got rid of Max Kellerman pretty much instantly. But then to cover his ass, he said that I still did make sure that Max Kellerman would get his own show. He would still be paid. I didn't want the man fired or whatever. I only did this because I knew he had something to fall back on. You believe him? You don't? Irrelevant at that point. And then Stephen A. Smith, this is where it really crossed the line in my opinion. This is when he questioned Max Kellerman's integrity and credibility pretty much. And he said that, in quote, I had mad respect for him from the standpoint of white dude, highly intelligent, Ivy League, educated from Columbia, smart as a whip, can talk his ass off, can talk about anything. I get all that. But you weren't an athlete and you weren't a journalist. And the absence of the two components left people wondering, why should we listen to you? Which is an instant take coming from a guy who's not an athlete himself. But we'll get into that later, right? So Terrell Owens, and a lot of people, they went out there pretty much speculating on why did Stephen A. Smith seem to hate on Max Kellerman so much, although Max Kellerman didn't show us any animosity at this on live TV, while Stephen A. Smith was coming from him pretty much every day. Max Kellerman always kept his composure, kept calm and respectful and everything. And T.O., he retweeted, or rather he replied to one of the tweets who said that the relationship between Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman went downhill once Terrell Owens went on first take and called Max Kellerman blacker than Stephen A. Smith. So for Terrell Owens to actually bounce back off this, and he says fact with like 10, exclamation points or whatever. And obviously Stephen A. Smith saw that and he answered and he went in on T.O. So take a listen to what he had to say. Quote, now as for these dudes, that's an entirely different story. You know how I feel about your sorry ass. And then he tagged him, and you know why. You should thank your heavenly Father I haven't zeroed in on you with the trifling shit you try to pull. Tell folks to ask ESPN what your desperate ass tried to pull. Keep on talking. Eventually you expose yourself. Hashtag real facts. So that's one, right? Then Terrell Owens obviously responded to that, and then he said, behind what scenes? Again, man, I'm not worried because I stand on my character and who I am. You better come with some facts and not this hearsay and animal sources because that's not going to fly. And then Kyrie, of all people, came back and he was like, you trying to be the voice of reason. Shout out to Kyrie for that. He was like, Stephen A. Smith, can y'all catch each other can y'all call each other like grown, mature men and clear the air without all of the extra social media back and forth? Get what you need off your chest and move on. There are more important things to do. This is what Kyrie had to say. And then Stephen A. Smith said, he responded to Kyrie. Hang on a second. Respectfully, bro, you don't know the whole story. I have nothing to say to his sorry, pathetic ass, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. You are right, bro. I'm man enough to admit that. I will stand down. Respect. And then Stephen A. Smith pretty much shut it down, didn't say anything else, right? And then Terrell Owens was like, hey, man, I'm not done with you. Don't stand down now. I'll be sorry and pathetic. Be sure to keep that same energy when you see me next time. You see, I'm not intimidated by you because you have a platform and a loud mouth to claim that you're going to allegedly expose me about something. It seems to me that you're the one being exposed. Please expose me. Let us know what you got. I, along with everyone else, will be waiting. I don't bother nobody. I'm just me. And if you don't like me, then that's a personal problem. Then he kept going. I cannot wait to hear what he's going to expose about me. We'll be waiting. Anything to get the people to tune in and increase the ratings on his show, but I'm here for it. Hey, Stevie. when it's all said and done and you open up your mouth with the annoying overuse of vocabulary to try to expose me, I am still Team Max. And then there's more tweets, right? But I'm not going to get into the whole thread. You can go and check it out for yourself. So, all right. So that was the exchange. Now for my reaction. First of all, I wanted to say this about Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. The only defense I will give to Stephen A. Smith before we get to cook his ass because he's wilding. Some people saying you keep on piling up on Max Kellerman after 2 years or whatever. The truth is, he's just going to interviews and they keep on asking him about the subject and he's just answering questions. That's all. So he cannot control what's being asked. That's the only defense we get to Stephen A. Smith in that instance because he's out of pocket. He's wilding, bro. First off, the part about him pretty much questioning Max Kellerman's credibility. Are you crazy, Stephen A? Like, I don't know who's talking to you, what streets you were listening to, or what sources told you this, because we all know about your quote-unquote sources, right? But whoever looked at Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman and thought to himself, oh, man, Stephen A. Smith is cooking his ass. Max is not credible at all. I don't want to hear it. I don't feel what he's saying. Matter of fact, what is even up here? No one felt that way. No one. As a matter of fact, the consensus was that Stephen A. Smith was starting to get cooked on a daily basis. I remember at first when the show started, Stephen A. Smith, since it was his show, he felt more confident or whatever. He was talking his stuff. And at the point, I believe he still liked Max Kellerman, so I didn't have a problem. But then by year 2 or the last year, I felt like Max Kellerman would just get on Stephen A.'s ass every day while keeping calm, better vocabulary, back all of his opinions with straight facts, right or wrong, still facts, and sound arguments, while Stephen A. Smith was just out there yelling, looking mad, being disrespectful, and getting cooked, I want to say 8 out of 10 times. Max Kellerman was dominating. And if you look at the comments, I know ESPN First Take is like taking off right now as far as ratings and everything, but when it came to having just a debate partner, the consensus is the same for everyone. Max Kellerman was the one and he shouldn't have been fired. He just shouldn't. So that's one. Number 2, the T.O. thing. I think obviously Terrell Owens was kind of out of line to go on TV and call out Stephen A. like that out of his blackness, to put a white man over a black man on. You don't do that as a black man. That kind of looks crazy. But still, ironically, this is kind of showing the real perspective of how people actually felt about Max Kellerman versus Stephen A. Smith on First Take. A lot of people felt like Max Kellerman had the black people's back on issues way more than Stephen A. Smith, especially when it came to the Colin Kaepernick thing. So he was winning debates, and even when it came to the quote-unquote activism, and we got to mention that because a lot of people bring that to sports nowadays, the quote-unquote activism, Max Kellerman was still dominating in that field. You had your own people, Stephen A. Smith, feeling that way about you. And as a black man myself, I would never say that a white man is blacker than another man. But Max was down. Max was really down while you were over there, sometimes you were with us, sometimes you weren't. I never really could figure you out at that time. I feel like now he's better. But back in the days, Max was cooking his ass. Other point, why would you even, you could have just answered the question and said I didn't like working with the dude. I got him out of there because I felt like the show was stalling, kept it moving. People would just still not liked it, but in my opinion, that's fair. Like, if you're the boss of the show or whatever, the star of the show, you get to handpick your partner and you feel like your partner is not moving the needle, you can change him. That's okay. But for you to question the man's credibility 2 years after, now that he just got fired and he's probably looking for a job. And the fact that Max Kellerman, although he keeps on getting disrespected, letting go off shows, has not said a single bad word about you for 2 years. And God knows, maybe people are not checking for Max Kellerman like that in 2023. But still, if he came out and he was like, yeah, I'll give you an interview about what it is to work with Stephen A. Smith, the whole world would watch. And he has yet to do it. But you still went out of your way to let it be known that Max Kellerman's credibility was not what he needed to be. Is crazy to me. It's crazy. So that's 3. Now, last point. Stephen A. Smith, you need to stop threatening people like that, bro. Like, you really need to. Like Terrell Owens, first of all, he has way less to lose than you, and he will take it there with you. So you better come with straight facts, just like Tio said. And I don't buy none of that stuff. Like the people who go on TV and keep on threatening people, if it doesn't happen, that means that either they're not allowed to actually go and act upon those threats, and Stephen A. Smith still working at ESPN, he very might well not be allowed to, or they don't have shit. They don't. Stephen A. Smith made it pretty clear that he does not like Terrell Owens one bit. So if he really had something, he would have took his ass straight to the podcast or right on Twitter. It would have got to business, and he didn't do anything. So you won't. And Stephen A. Smith, he's been acting like he's like a mafia boss or a gang member lately. Like he's tripping. He's threatening everyone. Like, yeah, you don't want to make an enemy out of me. I know the doctors. I know where you stay. All that bullshit. Stop it. We're just talking sports. What are you doing? And you're never doing nothing. You're just running your mouth at this point. And Stephen A. Smith, like, here's the thing with me and Stephen A. Like, the guy, sometimes you'll see him on TV, he's great and everything, and you want to root for him, but every time he keeps on being way too full of himself, and it's like, man, I can't really rock with you like that. I can't. So anyways, I'm going to close the video right here. What I need you guys to do is, if you made it this far, first of all, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. I love you guys for checking me out. Please get in that comment section and give me your thoughts about this whole thing, man. Is Stephen A. Smith out of pocket? Is Terrell Owens out of pocket? And what do you think happens next? And about Max Kellerman, man, what do you feel about Max? Should he actually come out and say something? Or should he just keep quiet and wait for the next opportunity? So anyways, again, appreciate you guys for checking me out. I'll see you guys later. Peace.